Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Anne.
Good morning.
Welcome to Spirit Talks. These are talks that Anne and I get together to talk about spirituality, talk about connection. And today's topic is we're calling it a sacred energetic hug. So, just so you have a little reference before we dive into the topic, is that I'm a board certified chaplain. I have a business called Sacred Work with Candi, and I am a spiritual counselor and transformational healing coach. So I work with individuals, couples, families. A lot of the topics are about death, dying, grief, loss, and trauma, and the bigger connection, how we connect with ourselves and others. Anne, you want to share a little bit about yourself before we dive into the topic?
Yeah, I am a certified life coach and spiritual growth coach at Finding Joy Within. And I help people really get to the root of what's holding them back, because that's the only way that we can truly, truly change, right? When we get to the root and we look at that and we bring that up and we heal that and give it awareness. So I absolutely love it. I love helping people. I love helping people go within. And I love talking anything spiritual.
And that's why we're doing this, because we just like talking about the connection and how we get to that place. So diving into the topic today is it came forward because we never know what's going to come up for us. And last week when we were on the call, we did not record, and I was available and had some stuff coming up. And so I was holding space for her, and she'll share the specifics, or if not, it's fine. But what happened today is we got on the call and I had some stuff coming up and some grief and some things that were painful for me. And so what was so beautiful is being able to feel that energy through Zoom with our connection, a heart connection, and really hearing. And I felt like you really heard me. And we don't really need people to fix us. We're not broken.
We're not broken.
Right. And so we don't need somebody to step in and fix us, but we really do need somebody to hear us, and hold that sacred space, and to really feel like we're being hugged.
And see us, really hear us and see us. Without fixing, without suggesting, without finding a silver lining, all of that. Just see us in our pain and our grief and our struggles. And that is enough, that is enough as someone who loves and cares deeply for you, as you love and care deeply for me, and the way that we're all connected. Like, that is enough.
Yeah, I'm reminded of when I was in seminary, I took an interreligious course, but it was interreligious, multicultural, and also was this pastoral counseling. It was communication. It was very broad, right? And it was a hybrid. Okay, so what that meant is we were learning not only the multiple cultural, religious avenues, right? But how technology could still be a means of connecting. And that was some years ago now. But so I remember doing a Google Talk. So I was fascinated with it because you were talking about energy earlier. And I was fascinated with it because I was like, okay, I can be really present with somebody in person, but how's this going to work?
Mhm.
You know? And so we did this Google Talk conversation. At that time, you didn't do video,
Yeah.
right? But you could do like a typing conversation on the computer. And I was blown away, Anne. I was blown away at how I could feel the energy. I could feel it was with this man in my class, and I could feel his energy. He was of a very different culture than me, and I could pick that up. And he was very struck by how my responses were right on.
Mhm.
Were just right on. And I had learned in my first graduate program was just spiritual psychology. And I had learned then how to follow the energy. And you
Mhm.
were talking earlier about about our energy, what is the how we say things, but it's about the energy.
Energy behind them and the
Mhm.
intention behind them, which is
Mhm.
all based on energy. Yeah. I mean, some of my most profound, I mean, all of my coaching sessions are usually profound and healing, but one of my clients is in California, and I'm on the East Coast, and we do this healing meditation to kick off I do it to kick off all of my client sessions, but the energy is so strong and palpable during that meditation that afterwards I'm like, I have to sort of take a moment to recover. And
Mhm.
that's over Zoom,
Mhm.
and so I remember hearing about John of God, right? You heard about John of God, this healer that's in South America, and how he would do distance healing. And I completely understand it now, because it's all about the energy and the intention and where you focus, right? And I'm focusing on you, and you're again on the West Coast, and I'm on the East Coast, but our energy is connected. And
Yeah.
that's one of the, I think, wonderful things that's come out of this crazy time with the pandemic, is that people have really opened up to the idea that we don't have to be in person. We do, and there's something beautiful about being together, of course, but there's a lot of beautiful, beautiful connection that can happen this way as well.
I totally agree. And I am so grateful for Zoom. And I want to say too, because I love it that I don't think I really knew that you started your sessions like that, because I start my sessions with calling in the light.
Yeah.
And I worry sometimes that, oh gosh, because is it too long? And I totally channel it. There's some standard things I probably say, but I really tell people like this creates that sacred space for healing, connection, for the power of spirit to come forward, transformation. And I do it before each individual session, but I also do it before groups at the beginning of groups and everything. And it's so, yeah, it's almost like I connect the I guess why this is coming up. I'm just thinking about that whole, like, you pick up the thing and the strings there and you're picking up,
Yeah,
right?
it can.
Right, the can, right?
It's
Right.
true.
It's like making that connection. It's almost like saying, here, honey, God saying, here, honey, here's let me lay the carpet out for you. Here's the table, and you just put whatever's going on with you, and we're just gonna take care of that. And it's safe and it's vulnerable, and it's
Yeah,
lovely.
it's so lovely. It's like, for me, it's twofold, right? So sometimes more profound than others, but um, I will, I can feel myself shift and start to channel my higher self at the same
Mhm.
time I'm connecting with my client's energy. And just depending on, where I am, where he is, this particular client that every time it's like so intense is,
Mhm.
I think maybe that our energetic vibration might be like in a similar place, or he might just be vibing very high, but like, it's like coming at me from this way and coming
Mm.
at me this way. And it's so profound and intense for me. I have to just like take a moment after the meditation to just like almost come back.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so that makes me think that even though I don't see it that way, I'm actually channeling. Like in that moment, I'm channeling, like you said. Um, and it's wild and so exhilarating.
Yeah, I really do love it. Yeah, I was just contemplating this. Mm, I've had people who you don't know sometimes when it's fairly new client, you don't know how they're going to perceive what happens for them, right? And in my world, in the chaplaincy world, for over the years, I've contemplated, and we've talked about this a little bit, what names of that divine energy do I use? Like not wanting to offend anyone.
Yeah.
And yet I always go name or no name, like it doesn't really matter. So it really means, okay, whatever's divinely guided at the time. And then all of a sudden I'll have somebody say, oh, I just feel this tingling right when you say this, or,
Mhm.
oh, this part of it, I just really love right when you say that warm, radiant sunlight of the spirit,
Yeah.
or something like that. Right. And I go, oh, and so then I'm tuning in to go with that person. I'm aware of that like every time now that I say that, which is so funny, and so it's just so multi-layered, like I'm thinking about when you were talking, I was thinking about how this concept of following the energy, right? And so in my sessions, I work a lot with grief, right? And so often present day grief, the suffering, the experience of suffering in a present day grief is often connected, linked to a very early grief, multiple ages, right? And so following that, and sometimes it'll flash in my head what is important to that person, right? So that sunlight of the spirit, we'll just use that as an example, and I almost see that as
Mhm.
the energy line
Yeah.
that's connecting it. I don't think I've ever verbalized this.
Yeah.
But it's pretty amazing, and I think it lends power to this ineffable, unseen line that connects all of us in this life, all of us, our ancestors, all of our experiences. Pretty powerful.
Definitely. You know what else I was thinking? It's also like this thing you said, I'm never sure how they're going to take it. And I agree. Sometimes I have people who are not super spiritual, and I still take them through a clearing meditation, energy, whatever, at the beginning of our sessions. And what always what just occurred to me is that everyone always benefits from it, right? Even if they're not, they're inherently, we are spiritual beings, whether you're outwardly aware of it or not. So that process inherently always calms everyone who does it, regardless of what their beliefs are, regardless of if they feel like it's just, a exercise to calm the uh, sympathetic nervous system and all of that, or if they believe they're connecting to their higher self. I don't think it really matters, as long as they're able to sort of connect to that divine spark within, or that spark within, or whatever it is, that they can feel that, even if they're not spiritual or
Mhm.
open to that. it's that thing that lives within all of us, you know?
Yeah, and I love that, because that's why I love to say name or no name, because we have, I know for myself, in my experience lately, I'm really, I mentioned to you that word untethering, I'm letting go of some past attachments. And when I'm doing that, and that's that place of, I don't know, the letting myself be in that place of I don't know, there's no name or no name, this name, that name, like letting go of that attachment allows me to transform into something new. And as we bring this conversation sort of to a close, I'm very struck by what you mentioned before we got on this call about the tears, that we're all crying. And I kind of see it right now is that we're all shedding some skin. And we can call it shedding a skin, we can call it breaking out of a cocoon, that it's a little tender right now. It's a little raw. And I wondered if you would say something more
Yeah.
about what you were sharing before we got on the call.
Yeah. One of my spiritual teachers was saying that we're going through a paradigm shift right now. And of course, we're in the middle of a pandemic. Everyone knows that there's a paradigm shift happening, right? But what she said was that there's tears coming. And what she meant by that, and that we should allow our tears and we should be ready for the tears. And what she meant was, let them come. Let all of it come. We've been told by society for so long that we should stuff our feelings down, and that's just not the way. And we're all starting to see that we're letting everything come up, right? And so I think that for anyone listening, it's okay to feel what you feel. It's okay to cry. It's okay to be angry. I told Candi, I went in my closet and screamed so loud yesterday because I was upset. And rather than judging that, I was like, you know what? I'm just feeling my feelings. I'm allowing for them. And for so many years, so many of us have been told by family, teachers, society that we should not show those emotions because that's bad, because we need to be poised and put together, and we can't have that emotion here, and we can't have, no, that's not the way.
Right.
And I think we're starting to see that as a collective.
And I love that. And I really thank you for that, because I think what it does when we hear things that confirm our experience, and then we share, and hopefully that will help you all confirm and affirm your experience. When I was on with Anne before we got on the call, and I had shared all this and had some tears, and then I said, oh, I feel a deeper level of grief coming. And to let that be okay, and that there are some internal things. And you mentioned about, we don't know that it's a paradigm shift, or we all would know this, but I don't know that we all know it. And I think that it's really important for us as spiritual leaders, as spiritual guides, to really say what our awareness is. And I do feel like there's a huge paradigm shift happening, and it's on all these levels: emotional, mental, physical, spiritual, financial, ecological, environmental, political. I mean, like all of it, right? And it is untethering. It is untethering, because it is important to be able to go, okay, I am willing to let go of whatever needs to be, that I need to be free of, to let it fall away. And that may be through tears, that may be through forgiveness, that may be through um, um, emotional release or emotional empowerment. I've heard it called recently, that the energy. And so that we can step into, I love it because Moxie, that's the name of my book that I'm doing. So, I'm like, okay, so we can step into it. So, it's amazing, like being vulnerable and real with all this.
And accepting ourselves fully through the process, I think, is a huge one. It's been something really big for me lately. Just, do I love myself in that piece? Do I love myself when I'm raging in the closet? Do I love myself when I'm very, very, very imperfect? And bringing that awareness to the process too, loving yourself through the process, loving those pieces that are coming up that maybe you don't really want to embrace, but accepting that, and finding some compassion for yourself and for your judgment of your pieces as well, you know.
It's huge. And you made me think of something. And so I'm gonna, I think it's so great because you mentioned loving yourself. And I'm also thinking, not taking myself so seriously, like laughing at someone. So this is what happened. So yesterday morning, I got a text from a friend who said she had had an unpleasant experience at a restaurant and felt kind of disconnected. It was around food. And so I knew it was around food. And you know me around food and this, recovering from eating disorder. So I said, well, I hear you, girl, because I'm not feeling great either because my dinner was peanut butter and rice cakes. And I said, but here's the deal. It's like, can we love ourselves enough through the discomfort? Can we love ourselves enough through the discomfort? And so I want to say to you, Anne, thank you for giving me that sacred hug, that sacred energetic hug to allow me to be vulnerable and real and another spiritual being going on this journey of evolution and being a light.
Yes, you're welcome. And thank you for being that exact person for me last week when I was feeling some deep, deep grief and unworthiness pieces of myself on my journey. And you did the exact same thing for me last week. So grateful for that.
Thank you. It's just so amazing. 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 That's why we wanted to do this. So for all of you, thank you for joining us. I hope that this was helpful for you. If you would like to reach out to us, we're going to post when we post on our various channels, we'll put our contact information at the bottom. You can find us on our websites. You can email us, Instagram, whatever. We're kind of all around there. But more than anything, I want to just support you on your spiritual journey, on your evolution, on your connection, on the messiness of life. Oh, God, it's so messy.
Exactly what I was thinking when messy came out of your mouth. I was thinking the same thing. None of us are perfect. It's all messy. And the more that we can accept that that's okay, the better it all is.
Absolutely. So love and light to you all, and blessings, and connect with somebody today.
Yes.
Okay. Bye for now.
Bye.